Zedcraft has been open a week, and we have already begun the end. The dimension, that is. We took on the dragon as a group, and I'd like to say it was an epic battle, but she really didn't stand a chance. Zedaf then decided to gear up and take on the dragon himself, and that didn't go so well. However, I had a mission of my own. Since I will be living in the end this season, I wanted to find my own stronghold, so I began harvesting pearls and blaze rods. But these also ended up serving another purpose. You see, last night I was watching the MCC and Hermitcraft panel at TwitchCon, and mindlessly mining this obsidian in the end. The goal was just to make enough ender chests for myself, as I like to carry plenty of them with me. However, I went a little overboard. So the first thing today, I want to set up a little shop. So I'm now over in the shopping district, and I've found a nice spot here for my first shop. I've brought over some resources. Obviously this is mostly what we will be selling, and I've brought some things to help build the shop as well. Now it's going to be a very simple design, and with me mostly selling end-related things, I think I'm just going to build an end-themed shop plot here. I think some of you may have already figured out what my plan is here. I'm wanting to build something based on the towers in the end. Then maybe we can have a barrel in the middle or some barrels around the centre here. Although this isn't the most circular build. Let me fix that. There we go, I think that's a bit better. Now I did bring some amethyst here to decorate the top of these little pillars, but I do want to show you a plugin or data pack that we have on the server. So we have this way to get mini blocks. So I'm wondering if this will be better. So let's imagine we've got a 3 tall tower here, and then we have something on top. So I want this to symbolize the end crystal that would be on top. Whereas, if we compare that to one of these buds, I think I actually like both. Yeah, maybe we'll use both, and some of these smaller buds as well. I think that could work. Yeah, I like the feel of this. I think this works quite well. I think if you see it from quite far away, you know what it represents. I think that one might be too tall though. Yeah, there we go. Do we maybe want these to not be completely symmetrical? Bring this one down. There we go. Now every shop needs an ender chest, especially a shop that sells ender chests, and I think that will do for storage at the moment. I don't have that much to sell. And here we have it, the odds and ender chests shop. The ender chests are 2 diamonds each, and the odd bits are currently just the things needed to make an ender chest, but the idea here is mainly people might want obsidian to make a nether portal, for example, or a blaze rod for their first brewing stand. So I think it's still nice to sell these things individually. So let's hope we make some diamonds. Now, while I'm in the shopping district, I'd like to point out this shop by Boonsey, where we have these Loney wings. Now that's something we do every season on this server, and this means that I can grab some wings here, fly out into the end, get my own wings, and then bring these back, rather than having to bridge out the first time I go to the end. So I will be taking some of these shortly, because I do need some shulker shells, and I would like to get my own wings. Now here we are, back in the end. I've taken out a loan and bought some rockets. It's time to do some end raiding. Now, I was considering doing some kind of Colourlympics competition with end raiding, but I'm not really sure how that would work. If you do have any ideas... Oh, this one has been claimed. If you do have any ideas, do let me know. And also let me know what you think of these shaders. They're a little bit intense in the end. And with me living in the end, I do need to make the decision on whether or not to use them. But I do love this effect. It's so atmospheric. And here we have my very first wings. It's been a few hours now, and the weather has changed. These lonely wings have served me very well. If we take a look in here, you can see we are nicely stocked up on a lot of supplies. We managed to find an armor trim as well, which is nice. Got lots of shulker shells, which is the main reason I was actually going to the end. And then we got lots of nice gear as well. I upgraded what I was already wearing. This might be Curse of Vanishing, but Protection 4, Mending, fantastic. And in here you can see lots of nice things as well, including this Fortune pickaxe, which is better than the one I'm currently using. So that is very nice. Let's take a bit of shelter from this rain. My plan now is to go through all of this storage, pack it up into shulker boxes, store it in my ender chest, and then I'm going to head out and try and find an end stronghold. Let's see how the shop's doing. Ooh, 18 diamonds already. Me and my trusty steed have travelled out a few thousand blocks. I found this village here and managed to tame a couple of cats, which will definitely come in handy later. And there are some villagers still here, so I may collect them in a bit as well. But the plan here is to use these Eyes of Ender to find a stronghold. Now I might try and use some maths here. I've never actually triangulated the coordinates before, but let's see. So mostly in that direction, and we are at 3750. Let's go 100 blocks in this direction. This isn't quite mathematical, but we'll see. So we will come 100 blocks, and then again we will throw, and that angle did lessen a little bit, but not much. So I think that tells me that we're probably a few hundred, maybe 1,000 blocks away. Ooh, we've passed it. So I don't think we're too far from this. If it's anywhere around here, I'll be happy. This is quite a nice spot. Got a hill, hopefully a cave, a nice river. And since 1.18, I do really like plains biomes. And we'll have some sheep nearby. Ooh, this is a little bit dangerous. That rabbit is not going to survive. Oh dear. Ooh, this is also a nice spot. So, I'm starting to feel like I'm in the Blair Witch Project or something. I'm heading north, and I was heading north, and I turned around at some point. I'm guessing it's much further north then, because I was surprised when it turned around. But, yeah, I must have just got confused. I like how at the start I was like, I'm going to mathematically calculate. And now I'm just lost. Okay, we're still going forwards. We've gone left enough, we've gone west enough. We're just going straight forwards now. Wow. I wouldn't mind a savanna biome. To be honest, I think in the latest versions of Minecraft, I wouldn't mind any biome. The whole landscape is just gorgeous. I mean, look at this. This is like an actual mountain or volcano. This is so cool. There we go. We are finally close. So it looks like we're going to have this mountain in the distance. I mean, look at this terrain. That's a village. Wow. I wasn't planning on doing anything fancy in the overworld, but this is such a cool spot. Okay, it's taking me north again. Are we here? Have we found the place? Is this now behind me? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I like this a lot. So we'll keep this guy here. I will sit these guys down. And I think I'm probably just going to dig down and see if I can find my way to it. Look what we've found here. Let's break our way in. Torches on the left, so we know where we've come from. And I'm going to block... That scared me. I'm going to block off every path where we know there's nothing down there. Wow, that did not take long at all. And now let's do the magic. Hey. Okay, now let's do the magic. So I'm back over at the shop because I've been informed sales are going too well. That's another 54 diamonds. This already sold out once, so I can stock this up fully again. But we are running a little bit low on the old ender chests. And did we sell anything here? We did. Another 3 diamonds. I guess someone made their own ender chest. So this serves as the backup. That makes sense. So we will take those as well. So now we're back at the temporary base. Of course, our real base will be in the end dimension. But for now, I'm living here. And I will be using the overworld here for certain farms and certain things. I might actually do something with the silverfish spawner. Maybe some kind of slime farm. I think that's what people do in this version of the game. I don't really know anything about it, but that could be fun. And then I have just a little setup here. Everything is currently still in my ender chest, really, because my actual storage system will be in the end. But I have installed this here. So we now have a nice way up to the surface, and we have a way back down. And on the surface here, there are a few things that I want to do, and a couple this episode. The first thing is I want to build a creeper farm, possibly over here, so that it's not having to be too high up to not load the mobs in these areas. So I'm thinking I want a creeper farm up here, but I have a design for the creeper farm, or I'm working on a design for the creeper farm, which will have 8 different colour outputs. So I want to use colours in the build. So I think I'm going to get a sheep farm first. So I'll need to build a sheep farm for the 8 colours that we'll be using for all of the Colourlympics farm designs. And then we will work on a creeper farm, which is why I got a couple of cats. I think I'll probably just use a cat design. So I've now set up this little sheep farm here, very basic, and this will be the first of 2 Colourlympic competitions of this episode. So the way this one will work is each dispenser here will get exactly 1 pair of shears, and it's not a race, but rather the sheep who produces the most wool will win the competition. So the most wool produced from 1 pair of shears. Now, I did want a few extra sheep, so I decided to start off with a mini contest, the Offspring Challenge. I grouped the sheep into pairs and then bred them, and the colour of the baby progresses to the next round. I did have to set this up in a way where certain colours wouldn't mix. For example, if you breed a blue and a red sheep together, you will get a purple baby. The sheep got 10 points for making it through the first round, 20 for reaching the final, and the winner got 40 points. Now these points will be added to the total amount of wool they accumulated, so we'll check in on that later on. And there we go. Cyan and red will get an extra 10 points, orange 20 points, and our winner, yellow, an extra 40 points. I'm just over here in my testing world, and I'm trying to plan out how this creeper farm is going to work. So I think I'm going to use cats, and we will have multiple layers. I'll probably do 4 layers, maybe. We'll see how that goes. I can add more later if I need to. And then the key thing here is I want to have 8 different outputs. So rather than doing something down where the creepers fall, I figured I would split each platform into 8 kind of slices here. So you can see this here would be the yellow slice, this here would be the orange slice. And I believe the rates are going to be worse than a normal creeper farm because we're blocking more spawns than in a normal farm. But that's fine. The idea here is that a creeper will spawn in and then will travel down into one of 8 chambers around the outside. And then this is where they will fall down. Maybe we will have some water that pushes them into the center. And before they get to the center, that will trigger some kind of scoring system. I'm thinking maybe we actually do a tripwire hook. So we'll have 8 different tripwire hooks, 1 in each section. So say it falls down here, and then in here we've got a tripwire hook across here. The creeper walks through as it's being pushed by the water even further in. So it activates the tripwire hook and then goes and gets killed in the center. So I think this will work on a bigger scale. One thing I have noticed, if I just place a few more, is the creepers will just walk over the carpets. I don't know why, but I thought creepers would be blocked. You see how I'm blocked here because we've got the trapdoors and the carpet. I thought they would be blocked as well, but it seems that they are smaller than the player. So they can just walk over and actually pick which side they want to fall in. So yeah, it's a little bit unpredictable, which I don't think I mind. But that might mean that we can actually open up some more of these spawning spots. Because if we have one spawn here, ooh, that is not a block where you can get scared. I thought it was from my testing earlier. If I place one here, he does get scared. But if I place one here, he doesn't get scared. Could that be based on where the cat is? Is he slightly more this direction? He is. That is maybe a problem. I was thinking the cat would have to be. So this is why I didn't want mobs spawning here, because I thought if the cat isn't perfectly in the center, then there's a chance that one side is going to be prioritized over the other. But the reality is the creeper just seems to walk wherever he wants. So I don't necessarily think this guy needs to be perfectly in the center. But he does need to be able to scare every single creeper. So I think we actually don't need this anymore, and we'll have the wall be there, which might even simplify things. And then I think this center part is absolutely fine. This weird trapdoor setup that I've got here seems to work. The creeper seems to fall down. It's just because this block here, if this was like this, the creeper doesn't seem to get scared on this one. It's like just too far away. But yeah, so maybe we do something like this, where we have a couple more spawning spots. I think the creeper will just pick a side. So there he chose to go to the right, left. I've built an amazing randomizer here. It seems pretty random from what I can tell. I believe this setup works fine. I'll probably build the first platform with these on the side, and then I'll try and figure out how I'm going to do the collection system and the triggering in survival. So a couple of days have passed now, and this farm has gone through a few different versions. So I'm actually going to tour the build now using the replay mod, and I'll explain the problems and what I changed in between each version. So I am now in the very first version without the shader pack on, and I have the night vision enabled. You see how we can actually see inside the build. So this is pitch black in here, but we can actually see the build using the replay mod. So to start off with, let's look at what hasn't changed. So you can see here we have this campfire setup down here, which kills the creepers, and we have the water flowing through here. So this is all working fine. The creepers do come down here, they die efficiently, and then we have hoppers underneath this. The hoppers all go into one chest. The rates are not high enough for that to ever be of a concern. And I have a very simple storage setup here. But then on the other side here, if I come around, I have this overflow protection. So there's probably better ways to build this, but basically if this chest has enough items in it to give off a signal of 2 from a comparator, this torch will turn off. The item will then go into this hopper, which feeds into this dropper here. And then this is just a design I found online, which will force a dropper to spit out whatever item it's got. So if this chest starts filling up, this dropper starts filling up, and then that dropper will shoot the items onto the cactus. So we do have overflow protection. If we come back up here, we can see that we also have the tripwire hooks here, and we have these droppers. So each of these 8 slices has their own tripwire hook. If I just come through here, you can see the lime one here. We can see this creeper triggers the tripwire, and that will have powered this dropper here. Not the one next to it, but the one underneath the tripwire. And what this does is it simply shoots a stick into one of these shulker boxes. And that's how we've been able to do the colour competition, the Colourlympics, is we will count the sticks in these shulkers, which will tell us how many mobs went through each slice. And now if we come up here, you can actually see very clearly that we have a problem. So on some of the layers, I noticed that creepers were not falling off the edge. They were just standing here, chilling out, not being scared by the cat and not falling off the edge. So I initially thought that this was to do with the size of the platform. So I tried to build it at the limit of what I tested. And in reality, I thought, okay, there's a problem there with the limit. Let's bring it in to a smaller area and see if that works. However, if we look at version 2, we have exactly the same problem. So this is version 2. I created a smaller platform here. I brought all of this in. You can see I had to create more trapdoors just so that there was a too wide space for them to fall in. And still, I was having an issue where some of these creepers were choosing not to fall down. Now this is version 3, exactly the same problem. What I did for this one is I made it so all the trapdoors here were kind of in the same orientation that you get. So I no longer had any on the wall. There were just some on that wall, some on this wall, a nice 2-block gap that looks like any 2-block gap in any mob farm where mobs fall down. But this creeper was still not wanting to go down. So we still had some kind of problem with this layout. And I think I saw something like this happen. And so I thought to myself, it must be something to do with the pillar here. So then in version 4, I got rid of the pillars. It is basically just a square, a very simple layout here. You may be thinking these double trapdoors might be causing a problem. I did test that in creative and it worked fine. Creepers would walk off the edge. So at this point, I just had no idea what the issue was. Sometimes the creepers would fall. Most of the time, they would just go to the edge and decide not to walk off, which is not very helpful in a creeper farm. So the rates were terrible at this point. And so that's how we got to version 5. So in this version, I decided to go with the water flow mechanic. If we come down here, you can now see that we have the droppers and observers that create the water that then push the mobs off. And you can very clearly see one of the problems that we have with this design is we get spiders. And because we have so many obstructions here to separate into 8 different columns, the spiders are a bit of a problem. I don't mind getting some string, so it's not the worst thing in the world, and they do usually fall down. But yeah, that is one of the problems. Another problem that I had with this is I had to change the size of the platforms. So you see we've got some extra blocks here. I didn't put the trapdoors here. So at the beginning we were getting some different mobs. We were getting skeletons and zombies. So version 6 fixed that and put the trapdoors in. But mostly this works. There's no real problems. There's no creepers that get stuck. They all do fall down. So unfortunately the cats have had to be retired. So this is version 6. I've got this playing back at 8 times real speed. We've got 4 lanes in the background where we would see mobs fall down. There we go, we got a creeper. So the rate's not great. I don't think that's anything to do with the surrounding areas. I think that is just because there's not that much place to spawn. You know, there's only 4 platforms. The platforms aren't very big. And to be honest, the mobs probably take quite a while to trickle down and die, especially if some of the spiders get stuck. So it's not an amazing farm. It's not even a great farm, to be honest. But it is a working farm. It works. I'm going to get gunpowder. I'm going to get string. And most importantly, we are going to be able to find out which colour is the best colour when it comes to farming creepers. So first, let's check out the sheep farm. So remember we did that contest earlier where some of the colours got some bonus points. I've just checked all the dispensers and they are all empty now. So the contest is over. I have collected up some of the wool, but this is not all of it. There is still quite a lot in that double chest there. Now, these ender chests resemble 64 blocks. So I took out 3 stacks of blocks from every colour in order to help me build the creeper farm. So you can see here, we've got a lot of wool to add up. I think we'll start with the colours that didn't get a bonus point. So we'll go with pink first. And pink scores 7 stacks and 28, which is 476 wool. Now purple scored 461, so pink is currently in the lead. Our champions of the fishing game, blue, scored slightly less with 457, so I don't think they're going to be on the podium today. Green scored 472, which currently puts them in second place. Pink is still in the lead. Now red scored 481 without the bonus points, so that's 491 in total, putting them comfortably in first place, but there are still 3 colours to go. Now cyan, who struggled so much in the fishing round, did well in the wool collection, but scored 1 point less than red. So even with the 10 points bonus, they scored 490. Currently in second place, but we'll see if they can hold on. Now orange here struggled, so even though they got 20 bonus points, they still only scored 480 in total. So red is still in first place, cyan still in second, and orange is now in third place. And remember, yellow gets 40 bonus points. And if we look here, yellow scored 478 before the 40 bonus points, scoring a massive 518 points in total. Now interestingly, red, cyan and yellow, who all got bonus points, were the top 3 scorers in this setup here as well. So they have absolutely dominated this event. So cyan gets the bronze medal, red wins silver, and yellow wins the gold medal. So now we're back at the creeper farm. And this one's a simple one. Each of these shulkers will have a certain amount of sticks, and the most sticks wins. I think we'll start with yellow, since they just won the sheep event, and we've got 2 stacks and 14. That's 142. Lime only managed 1 stack and 50. I can even add this up in my head. It's 114. Cyan scored 163, putting them in the lead. Blue scored over 3 stacks. That's 194. I'm surprised at the amount of variance in this. Purple scored only 110. That puts them in last place at the moment, definitely not getting a medal. Pink scored 123. Red scored a very impressive 208. So that puts them in first place at the moment. Does orange have nowhere near as many, 115. So that means red is our winner. Blue gets silver and cyan bronze. So now let's have a look at the overall scores. Yellow, red and blue are all tied for first place with 6 points each. All three of them have managed to get a gold medal and a silver medal across the 3 competitions. Even more amazing than that, Cyan is somehow in 4th place. After the worst performance in the first game, they've managed to do quite well for themselves with 2 bronze medals. Purple has 1 bronze, and then we have orange, pink and green with no medals as of yet. But stick around if you're interested in this very silly concept for farm design, because I will be doing more of these every episode, or at least we'll be looking at the results every episode. So now let's head over to the Connections website. So first, let's go through the answers of the puzzle from episode 1. The first group was a fairly simple one, and that is weapons. I did include blade in here to maybe throw some people off, but yes, the yellow category should always be something quite simple. The next category here is all fire-related things, and it is things that can set mobs on fire. Again, I included burn here to kind of link with this, although again, with it being the green category, it should be fairly obvious. Now, the reason I was able to include burn and blade is because they are both sherds. So pottery sherds have a lot of different names for each of the different designs. And I appreciate that if you've not been on the wiki like I have, you might not know the names of those designs. So that's why it's the blue category. It's a little bit trickier. And then the last category, goat horn, vex armor trim, depth strider, and wither rose. These are all things with mobs in the name. Strider, goat, vex, and wither. And here is puzzle 2. Remember, there's a link in the description to take you to this. Feel free to play along. Let me know in the comments how you did. And the 16 clues this time round are grindstone, turtle scute. Scute? Hold on, I need to learn how to say these. Grindstone, turtle scute, tripwire hook, enchanting table, lapis lazuli, name tag, pufferfish, enchanted book, shulker shell, ominous bottle, raw cod, bookshelf, totem of undying, nautilus shell, trial key, and armadillo scute. I wish you all the best of luck. This one might be a harder one than the last one. Very hard for me to tell when writing these puzzles. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks.